Session of our thinking out of the box. The reason why we call this thinking out of the box essentially is that typically in any exhibition, people just focus on now. I want to place an order now, I want to buy this looks good, let me sell this, let me buy that. But I thought that, or rather we thought that we should uplift the standard of our exhibition by also having some part of it, some section of it, which talks about tomorrow, which talks about the trends that are coming into the market. And one of the topics that we thought was thinking out of the box, which is something different from the day-to-day affairs. So that's how this general theme of the seminars came up. The topic that we felt would be very important was, of course, denim. Denim, as many of you all would accept, is one of the fastest growing categories in apparel, in the casual wear segment. It's getting more and more, let's say, application. I still remember, you have to excuse a 72-year-old man talking, reminiscing about the past, but I still remember in 1984, I had gone to meet Sanjay Lalbhai, and I had worn a denim shirt and a blazer with a tie. And he actually was looking at me in a shocked face. Okay, Rahul bhai, I've never seen my denim shirt fabric being used with a tie. And this was in 1984. And that's where this idea keeps coming in, that denim keeps evolving, keeps renovating itself through more and more usage. Today, for example, for the last couple of years, I've seen denim kurtas coming into play. So I'm sure today Manish will agree, Pepe is known for his jeans. Who knows, tomorrow it could come out with Pepe kurtas. So you can feel traditional also, and yet you can feel modern also. So that's a new idea. Whatever sales you have, to keep a commission for me. So the whole idea is that denim, yes, it is, at one point of time it was a very traditional standardized product, 14.5 ounce if I remember, 14.5 ounce denim. That was all. Then it was the lighter weight denims that came. In between there was even a 16 ounce denim, I remember, in my time. A 16 ounce denim became popular, where you felt, yes, you were really wearing something raw and tough. So these are the kind of sort of revolutions, I would call it, which keep happening in denim. And therefore this topic, that if product, reinvigorating denim business through product differentiation. I mean, today, honestly speaking, if there was only jeans being sold and only 14 ounce or 14.5 ounce denim being sold, what would be the difference really between a Levi's and a Pepe and a Spiker and a Killer and whatever, thousands of unknown brands and labels in the market? The only way you can differentiate, of course, branding is the most important part, but in terms of product, it is how do you differentiate your product with the others, with the competitor products, and how do you differentiate your positioning. So I think we have some outstanding experts in the panel talking to you about how they, in their own businesses, and we have got, if I mistake not, both denim fabric manufacturers as well as denim product manufacturers, the garment manufacturers. So I think we can look forward to a very interesting and scintillating discussion. And of course, I believe the moderator is also Wazir Advisors, who I believe apart from giving advice, they also practice their good management principles. So I'll leave it to Sanjay Balekar to introduce the panel to you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Rahul sir. As Rahul bhai said, may I introduce with applause Mr. Tanveer Ahmed, Director, Envoy Textiles. Mr. Manish Kapoor, CEO Pepe Jeans. Mr. Chandrakant Pudar, GM Sales and Marketing Raymond. And Mr. Minish Juneja, is GM Sales and Marketing Denim Division, Urban Limited. And those who attended the first seminar know him, but still I will introduce him. Mr. Prashant Agrawal, who is our moderator for the day from Business Advisors Private Limited. Over to you, Prashant.
Thank you. So good afternoon everyone, and as Rahul Bhai has already introduced, we have a panel which has diverse experience, and just to give you a little more brief about the panelist, let me start with Manish Kapoor. And I was just we were just discussing here, we are from the same college also. We go back, and like I was asking him that how did you come into brand being a technical person, and he said I have tried everything, and I found like it's my place to be representing brands for that matter. And he has been part of Madura Garments, Calvin Klein, French Connection, and so for now he's with Pepe from last 8 years. So he has seen the front end so deeply and seen the whole complete supply chain as well as the consumer. So we have in him who has a deep understanding of garment business. And I think what I would request the panelists, as we are talking about future in this panel, so we all have experience, and I think denim is one business where I rarely will find somebody who has not used it day in, day out. All members of the family. It's not that men only, all members of the family. So we all understand denim well. But how it's going to shape out, Rahul Bhai has already given Pepe Jeans one big idea of the day. So while maybe some more will emerge, and I think Rahul Bhai, we need to patent this panel from that perspective. And from Manish Kapoor, let me introduce Mr. Tanveer Ahmed. And when I was talking to him in the morning, and I was thinking that it's only India which has kind of 50 million meters denim capacities, where Tanveer has set up in Bangladesh one of the most modern, LEED certified, and one of the denim fabric facilities which are known worldwide as are supplying to one of the best brands globally. And other than being into denim fabrics, he's into non-denim garments also. He has 6 factories, where 4 factories are for top bottoms and then 2 are for tops. So being in Bangladesh, he's been into complete supply chain, and he understands, I think, some of the perspective which I was hearing from him. He understands buyer being into complete supply chain in terms of how somebody is able to earn more from the same product. I think this is also one part of business that one has to develop as a supply chain perspective. On my right is Minish Juneja. He is from Arvind, and when somebody knows denim, so I think you can't complete the panel without Arvind in India being there. And Arvind is the name who has who, like, denim and Arvind are synonymous from that perspective in India at least, and globally also they have one of the biggest capacities. And he has been in this company Arvind from last almost 18 years. So again, so on my right are 2 people. Mr. Juneja is from last 18 years. Chandrakant is in Raymond for last 25 years. So sometimes you see that you have grown with the brand, you have grown with all the joint ventures, all the partnerships, all the markets that they have explored globally. So I think I was explaining you all about the panelists that you can understand that whatever comes from them is coming from a lot of experience that they have seen through in life. And I think that's a good part of a panel discussion. Normally, I don't share what questions I'm going to ask. So sometimes you ask and then somebody will tell you, okay, this is the possible answers. So somebody, it's like books. Somebody wants to give their best, and in panel discussion, this is what happened. You are not prepared, and when question is asked, you give your best in terms of what you have learned, because you don't have time to think beyond that. I think that's why I like panel discussions, and I like moderating them also and ask questions so that the best come out of it. Just to give you a brief perspective before, just in 1 or 2 minutes, in terms of what this global industry is about. Today, denim industry globally is about $75 billion, $75 billion industry. It's a big industry from all possible perspectives. And this $75 billion industry, when we talk about, we know US and Europe are the leaders in terms of consumption. In terms of trade value, Europe being one of the largest, it imports almost $5.5 billion worth of denim. And if you talk about US, it imports almost around $4 billion worth of denim. So we have big players, one country itself importing a lot, and that I am talking about FOB value. And when you convert, it goes much bigger from that perspective. And then if you see between US and Europe, duty plays are also an important part in terms of what gets exported where. If you see Europe, Bangladesh is duty free to Europe. So Bangladesh is number one, it's not China. There are very few places where China is not number one in terms of supply. Bangladesh is number one in terms of denim supply. Then Bangladesh, after Bangladesh comes Turkey. And after that comes China when it comes to Europe. And then from China after that, it's like all other countries you can join together. But if you see from US perspective, number one country supplying denim is Mexico. And then comes China, and then comes Bangladesh, and then comes Vietnam. So this is how these two big players are being supplied, and that means a duty play an important role from that perspective. And when an industry gets developed, and I was talking to Farooq Hassanji in the morning, and not talking to, he told in the panel itself, he said, Bangladesh, Prashant, garment industry, while we are talking labor is cheap, this is this, how garment industry became an engine for growth, because the interest cost was very high, and textile needs a lot of investments. So 18% was the interest cost. So people said, why not to invest in something which has a low cost of investments and low input cost. So Bangladesh went first into garment, and now having earned a lot of money, and all our big corporate giants and big entrepreneurs from that perspective, and now they are investing in the complete supply chain. So that's also, I'm saying, when you go deep, you understand a lot of reasons. And when you now from there, from international perspective, you come to Indian perspective. Indian denim industry is around between $4 to $5 billion, and it's from that perspective, it's a big industry. And how, if you see in fabrics versus garments, fabric, the largest supplier being Bangladesh, largest manufacturers of fabric being Bangladesh, 3,000 million meters per annum. India is around 1,500 million meters per annum. Where it comes to Bangladesh, it's around 600 million meters per annum. Then Pakistan is around 700 million meters per annum. Then you have Turkey around 500 million meters per annum. So I'm saying on fabric perspective, again, India is number 2. But when it comes to garment, you have to look around. Where is India? So I think, again, in one of the discussions which came out, that India is nowhere in garment, because India always has options. In life, when you have options, you keep trying everything, right? So India had option to explore a lot in domestic market. So India, what you make out of that, 80% of our fabrics get converted into garments for domestic market. So domestic India has a big domestic market. All is coming from Indian fabrics made out of India. But we have not made garments which are like in denim garments, the scale, the cost, the kind of finishes which are required by the international market. So our market in the export is minuscule. But from the perspective of some of the trends, I think I will just touch 2 and 3. My panelists will touch much more, because denim is something which is changing very, very fast. Something which you could not imagine. Denim is that way changes. Are like, if you see, one of the trend is corporate wear for denim. So I don't know in times to come when comfort wear, when all denim manufacturers have included spandex into it. So denim becomes so comfort wear that instead of suits, denim becomes the corporate wear. And then you have women. Women again, denim is more in demand there. So that's also one of the trend, and then kind of product options which are possible. Sustainability is one of the platform which people are working. So I think there are a lot of product differentiation which we are talking about. It's happening. With this all background, just to give you a global domestic perspective and trends, let me now move on to my speakers. I will request them to give their viewpoint about the denim, what's the future of denim, and how things will be moving in times to come. 4-5 minutes each, and then I have my questions that we can have interactions going forward. Let me move straight to Tanveer to hear your views. Welcome.
Thank you. First of all, thank you for inviting me on this panel. It's an absolute pleasure to be here. Please excuse my voice. I have a little sore throat, so I would apologize if I'm not very clear, but I'll definitely try my best. The denim, I will speak about a little bit of the global denim market, the trends, and then I will tell you a little bit of the industry that is going on in Bangladesh in terms of denim. The denim industry in the world, as you have mentioned, is around some $50 to $60 billion odd, and by 2026 it is expected to be around $80 billion. The major market player in denim in the world is America, of course, where they have a market share of around, I would say, $18 billion, followed by Europe, which is around 10 to 11 billion. The rest of the world comprises of the other compositions. In terms of Bangladesh, we have around 40 textile mills. Denim is fairly new in Bangladesh. It's only been 10-15 years that the denim market came into force, compared to the 40-year industry that we have for RMG, which started around the late 70s. So denim, we have around 40 textile mills. The total annual capacity is around 600 million meters. And with that, we can produce around 55 to 58% of our local capacity. The rest is imported mainly from India. India is our India is our biggest. We are the consumers of denim jeans from India, and then we have from China and Pakistan. And the investment in the denim industry is around $2.5 billion in the last 10 to 12 years, and we still have a capacity of another 300 to 450 million meters, which we don't have at the moment, and we are relying on imports other than India and Pakistan that we have mentioned. The industry has shifted. I've seen a change in paradigm. Before, like you said, this topic is about the future, so I would like to give you a little insight into the future. For any garments manufacturer, when we work with garments or apparels, as we say, there's two kind of, the conventional method or the conventional model involves producing what the buyers want. They give you a spec, you try to match that, and you supply according to their needs. That can give you the mileage for so long, but to get that extra value addition, the world has seen a change. You need to have more values into your product. So how do you add values to your product? One of the ways that you add values to your product is through working together with the buyers. You try to give them new options in terms of fabrics, new options in terms of yarns, new options in terms of process, in terms of sustainability. So this whole circular process of production is something that you can add value to, and that will definitely increase the value of your product. And another way that you add value is moving from cotton to synthetic product, which is a big shift in the trend now. In Bangladesh, the world's whatever capacity they have, whatever the world's capacity is for cotton, we supply 70% of the cotton products, but we only do 30% of the man-made fibers. So there is a big demand for man-made fibers like polyester, nylon, spandex. So this is a forward way of thinking. And another thing is sustainable production. Production which consumes less water. As you know, denim consumes a lot of water. Just for a fact, from the time you start growing the cotton to the time you produce a denim, it takes around 17,000 liters of water to produce a pair of jeans. Now this has been a global concern, especially when there is water shortage in so many countries, even in countries like in Bangladesh. So sustainable production using sustainable technology, recycled yarns, recycled cottons, these are the way forward for moving ahead. And to add value, to move to the next level, you will definitely need to convince your buyers to have a perspective where you portray yourself not only as a supplier but also as a brand for new process and new technology. So this was my intake on the denim industry and how it's moving in the future. Thank you.
Thanks, Tanveer. I think with this, I have many more questions from you, but let me just take this first round and then come to those questions, because I think one of the important point also, other than knowing Bangladesh, he talked about is how do you service your buyers. I think there lies the game in terms of, and services will have different aspects, not in terms of what kind of product variety, what kind of delivery. Some companies in Bangladesh are doing like a store inventory management from US, as the sale happens, same day sales, they will be updated here in the factory in Bangladesh here, and the shipments, the order doesn't come through a purchase order. It comes through the sale which is happening. So these where denim industry, Bangladesh has really moved ahead. I think these are some of the minute aspect, Tanveer, moving on, where we would like you to share. With this, let me move to Manish. Just give the mic. Manish, your perspective. It's on.
Hi. So I'll probably start off in terms of as in talking about jeans. So they say that clothes are a true reflection of your personality. I think jeans as a category, as in signifies or as in reflects that much better than anything else, because that's something which actually shows as to what you are. And again, so as in, so you could be as in wearing a clean jeans to office, but then as in if you were to say that it could also have a translation into streetwear wherein you would have all washed or rugged sort of torn sort of denims. And I think denim, when I say as in the evolution, it has evolved over a period of time based on the needs of the consumer. So while it started from a very, very functional product wherein miners used to use it and it had to be very, very rugged, over a period of time, as in, and that's what, as in, started from the US brands always worked on functionality. And then the European impact came in wherein the element of fashion got merged into denim, and that's where the fashion denim started, the whole revolution started around there. And then if we see that, again, merging both those functionalities and fashion, we again went back to functionality, wherein we said that how do we make it comfortable. That's where, as in, you had the stretch and the other elements coming, and various sort of finishes, right, from stain-free to all other finishes, nano and other things came in into the spectrum. So the idea was very, very clear that how do you ensure that it is serving the consumer needs well. Prashant spoke about, as in terms of having spandex into the product. Today we do almost 2.5, 3 million units in India, and every single pair that we sell has got spandex in it. So that's where, as in, functionality came in. If I look at, as in, how again denim evolved as a category and jeans evolved as a category, as in previously we used to have these phases globally wherein they said that there is a growth phase for denim, and then it used to come down, and then the chinos used to go up, or some other categories within bottom wear used to go up. If I look at the last 15, 18 years, there has been a consistent trend wherein the denim keeps growing up. There's no downward trend. And I think that's where the differentiation has come in. Wherever we have been able to preempt in terms of what the consumer requires next, what can we do additionally with this product, that's where, as in, the downtrend has been avoided. And how I see it is that very clearly we have to be ahead of the consumer curve in terms of thinking what next can we provide to the consumer. At trends from a consumer angle, the biggest trend today is about sustainability. That was something which we started as at Pepe thinking about and talking about sustainability for almost 5 years now. So in fact, the denim that I wear, and we spoke about 17,000 liters of water being utilized for one single pair. The denim that I wear today, it's called visor wash. We utilize just 1 cup of water to get this garment wash. We utilize laser and a lot of as in chemicals, which are green chemicals. So there is a lot of innovation that's happening on that side. The bigger trend that we see from a consumer angle is that for a long period of time, like organic cotton, the consumer didn't see a inherent value in terms of why should they go for sustainability. But we see a change in the last 2.5 years, wherein the consumer today is much, much more demanding. They want the product to be sustainable. They are much more concerned about the environment. They are also concerned in terms of the source of the product. So whether, as in, you are using the right sort of cotton, whether you are engaging with the right sort of suppliers within the value chain, and again, the country of origin also has started playing a major role. So I think going forward, denim is going to keep growing up. The important thing for us is to keep thinking ahead of the curve as to what we can do. It's a fabric which is very, very versatile. So right from office to evening in the pub to something on the street, you could mold it the way you want. It's something which is very, very dynamic. It's something which effectively lasts you a lifetime. So you could start off with a pair which is like completely raw, and over a period of time, it starts reflecting in terms of how it's aged. The important thing is that at any given point of time, whenever you're looking at what you want to do, like Rahul Bhai said, as in, if there is an opportunity on ethnic, you could do kurta out of it, you could do shirts out of it. But the bigger thing is that how are you able to basically communicate to the customer in terms of the inherent advantages that you might have, or the usage occasions that you are able to propose to the customer. And therein again, as in, I have a point of view wherein we keep talking about the fabric stage. I think from an India perspective, the bigger innovation or the bigger investments are required on the garmenting side and the finishing side. So if I look at it, and I've been 20 years in the industry, most of the time that I've done denim, for the first time ever in my industry career, I see a supplier side constraint. And there again, it's not about the fabric. It's about people who are able to do conversions. It's about people who are able to do finishing. So washing is a huge element here. We are looking at as in units that are integrated. We are looking at people who are able to innovate on the washing and the finishing side. And that's where I feel that a huge opportunity lies for manufacturers, for people in the value chain, wherein a lot of value can be added. And there is a huge opportunity wherein, again, a lot of fabric that we make within India could be utilized for domestic consumption. Or again, once we are able to do that, we could be able to earn much more margins and much more value from international customers also.
Thanks, Manish. I think good insight from that perspective. And so when you say cup of water, a cup of chemicals, so it will be available house to house nowadays. In future, like you do use it before selling, or as a consumer one can use it?
No, so this is during the manufacturing process. But what we are also looking at, and again, see, effectively, as in we say that you don't even need to wash your denim. You effectively, if you want to make it, as in if you feel that it's not hygienic, probably just wrap it in a plastic bag, keep it in a refrigerator, and then again, as in it's ready to be used again. It's true. It's true.
Another idea, just keep writing. So I just reminding, yes.
So again, you save water there. See, the reality is that we are as in getting into a future wherein some of the resources that we feel were available in plenty, whether you look at fuel or water or any of those things, as in would have limitations, and we need to as in think about our future. We need to think about our future generations. So these things, it's imperative for us that we imbibe that. And I see that, as I mentioned, as in I see that change coming in from the consumer, wherein previously people used to feel that why should I pay additionally or why should I bother? And especially in the last 2.5 years, I see that change coming from the consumer side, wherein they are moving. If I put in this at 5,999 and I have another product at 4,999, people tend to buy this more because they feel that there is a advantage. It might not show visibly on the product, but they are doing something good for the environment and for the future.
So, consumer is paying for that.
Consumer is paying for that.
Brand
today.
is not paying for that.
Brand does pay, but end of the day, as in we need to be, as in, so see, the reality is...
In our earlier discussions, you were not there, and we had discussions that every brand is asking for sustainability, but nobody is ready to pay for it.
See, the reality is, and as in this is, as in I hope it doesn't goes into the press, the reality is that as in any time that you do something, you have to be true to all stakeholders. Consumer is an important stakeholder, so we are doing a duty wherein as in we are providing a product which is good for them and good for the environment and good for all of us. But at the same time, you can't be selling that product at a loss. So we need to make our margins, we need to make our profits. But at the same time, we are taking that initiative wherein we are going that extra mile in terms of probably working with suppliers in terms of innovating, or as in initially taking up that cost also during the time that the consumer was not ready to pay for it, subsidizing those products initially. But end of the day, as in you need to ensure that you need to deliver value to all the stakeholders.
Yeah, I agree, and I think sustainability is something which needs a lot of re-engineering per se, because sustainability, it seems everybody is asking for it, but we are saying that nobody is ready to pay for it. So we have to think aloud, innovatively, and see how can sustainability be achieved without spending money. So again, a big question mark. But I think thinking has to be the way buyers always say. We have sometimes, you know, I make so many business plan. Every time the promoter will come, so you have to, you know, cost will go up 5-7% minimum every year. And when we say, okay, fine, let's increase 4%, at least the sale price. No, sale price will come down. So when you see 10-year profitability, sale price you always have to reduce, and then cost will go up. So where comes the margin? Efficiencies, that's it. So margin will only come from efficiency. So something one has to look for. I don't know practically how it is coming, but this is what happens in the report. So let me move to Minesh Juneja from here to Arvind. So give your views. And I have a lot of questions being piled up, but I'll ask later.
First of all, good afternoon, everybody, and thanks for giving me a chance to be part of this panel discussion. See, as far as denim is concerned, if you see the growth in, I'll say the fabric manufacturing capacities has been, and new mills have come in and new manufacturing capacities have been added in last 10 years. So, it's good and it's a healthy competition here, because once there are competitors, companies are forced to work on innovation and find new ways to remain in business and to remain profitable in business. And having a long association with this market, from 18 years, I have seen a shift. Denim in India, started from a basic 2x1 or say 1x1 canvas product, non-stretch denim, and now suddenly it went to stretch, and then there was a lot of value addition like coatings, tints, and now again due to pandemic, we are denim is back to basics, and now durability is more in focus. So for a company, as he rightly said, to survive in current in competitive environment, product differentiation is a must. And companies we are working on product differentiation. We are working more on sustainability, functionality, right, and then performance, right, and again it fabric can be differentiated in terms of aesthetic also. Feel. So we are working closely with our customers. We are understanding their needs. What a buyer needs, and then again we are working with our supply chain partners. So today you will have to work more closely with your customers. You will have to work more closely with your channel partners, because see, end of the day, cost has become a major factor, right? If you innovate a product, right, if you are selling a product which is like differentiated product, but end of the day, to be commercially viable, viable, cost plays an important role. So again, traditionally, if you see, Indian market was a men's market, so companies were more focused on men's product. So now we are like a specific GSM product. Now what we feel that denim can be used in kurtis, lightweight shirts. So we are expanding across denim categories. Secondly, washing is again a current challenge in our industry. So we are working more closely how to differentiate a product at last mile differentiation at finishing stages. So that will give an advantage to, fast turnaround. It will increase efficiency in washing, and it will also bring down cost. Just to summarize, denim industry in India, has a very bright future. But again, to sustain and to survive and to remain profitable, the only mantra going forward is that we need to differentiate, and we will have to build up some companies have to build up some entry barriers in their product.
Entry barriers. So I think another question, I have some question piled up. Let me first go to Chandrakant, and then I will have further questions. Yeah, please.
Yeah, good afternoon, everybody, and thanks for giving me an opportunity. Thanks, CMI. Rahul Bhai was mentioning, I sold denim to Rahul Bhai 20 years back, 15, 20 years back. So it was very basic denim, used to be a long journey, last 2 decades. It was only a 14 and a half rigid left and right hand view. There are only two denims. Arvind was the one.
Our college also we used to study that.
Only there was only 2 qualities. So that is when we started Raymond in 96, joined in 98. So that time, so denim used to be open and 14 and a half, only 2 qualities and 1 color, indigo color. So it changed so much. Then we started with the ring denim. So that was the first change. Earlier it used to be open, and then we started with ring denim. Then there are different shades and cast coming into picture. Then slowly moved to stretch denim. It was very strange those days. Stretch people were not knowing how to stitch it, how to wash it, and all. So that was the time it changed to stretch. So that is how continuously there is life coming to denim. There is a new life coming. So otherwise, if you are there one, it should have been dead long back. That is how this 150 years story continuously going on. So stretch was earlier, say 90. We used to do 90-95% of production was in rigid, maybe 5-10%, and so suddenly India changed, become stretch oriented. So world was also doing a stretch, maybe 10-20%, but India was more than 50-60-70% was stretch. So much of sudden shift in this. Then there are coatings coming in that gives some life to it. Then in stretch also, then you become comfort stretch, super stretch, skinny. Then so much of change. So continuously there is something or the other is coming. So now one is the feature, then the views, then the shade. Now then comes the washing. So a lot of washing coming into picture. So one time Pepe were doing this sand wash kind of a thing. So it was so that things are also changing. So it is continuously something or other happening. So that is how new life is given. Earlier used to be one kind of a thing, then you are not getting anything. Now big thing is product, how you make product differentiation is always you need to say now big thing is on sustainability. So earlier few brands in the world talking, there are very few Indian brands were not talking. Now last few years it is suddenly changing. So consumer also understanding, of course mill like us say we rate sustainability not only on the product but the back end, your manufacturing entire thing is sustainable. We 97% of water is a major, so 7% of water is again recycled. So everything is reused. So from that it starts. So then now I mean recycle is not only there, plus water is the main thing. Then you do post-consumer waste, then pre-industrial waste, then the lot of hemp, linen, modal, and all those natural fibers coming into picture. Now people are saying cotton-less denim. There is no cotton. There is no cotton in it because cotton is a.
So do we have denim, cottonless denim already?
We have zero cotton.
Zero cotton denim.
Yes, there is a polyester or a modal or a viscose.
Anybody has heard of zero cotton denim? No.
Yeah. So that is again,
so it has come in market.
It is there.
Not conducive for Indian environment.
Yeah, of course. But looking at.
Otherwise, you need to give HGARD free with it.
No, but it is not that kind of a thing. But
right.
it
no,
is.
Europe, there are
Yeah. Because
a couple of brands which have done it.
Right.
They propagate it as travel denim. It's very lightweight. It has its advantages. So.
Yeah, because now cotton becoming so much of volatility, so you need to find out wherever you have a different fiber, you need to use it. So sustainability a big thing. Now people are talking, of course, there are few brands like H&M and of course Indian brands are also now coming into picture. The complete thing, everything they are using is post-consumer waste or a pre-industrial waste. Then one is a fiber, then this natural fiber. Then you are moving into dyeing technology where zero water is used. See, usually it is a 40 liters per meter. We have a technology where only 4 liters are used. There are certain technologies where you are not using any water. It is like a zero water kind of a thing. And we are recovering all those sulfur and all this recycling is happening in the factory. So again, that is also a major thing, recycling, because it is effluent treatment is a big thing in denim industry. So we have gone into again bio effluent treatment. There is no chemical used. So sustainability is a big thing, I think, going forward. So everybody is focusing on that. Of course, organic cotton and all those are there, but they are constrained because there is a limitation to it. I think going forward, sustainability will be a big thing.
Thanks, Chandrakant. And I think when we are talking about differentiation, Rahul bhai, I still remember when we all went to post tsunami. You were there at part of delegation. We went to Japan, where Sanjeev Kapoor was part of the delegation, and I was also there. Rahul bhai was there, and I used to make sure in those 7-8 days I used to sit beside Sanjeev Kapoor because I like food. So he used to like all the food will be served, and he'll start experimenting. He'll mix one with the other. He says, Prashant, try this. And definitely there are a lot of trials and everything looked so different. So I think the differentiation topic we are talking about, and when I told Sanjeev, do you make these recipes? Prashant, food industry में recipe इसी तरह से बनती है. You try and you keep tasting, and once something comes good, you name it. So I think denim is also doing same. They keep trying so many things. Something looks good, that recipe is a new kind of product. That's a kind of differentiation which is being talked about. And while listening to them, I just remembered Rahul bhai was
And
sitting
brands
there.
also, every time you need a story. I mean, to tell to the tell to the consumer something different.
Right,
what you are
right,
doing.
right,
something.
right. So
That has become the need of an hour.
yes.
You will have to do it.
So I think Tanveer, that's what in morning also we were talking about. When internationally something you as a factory is selling something at $3, $2, and a good manufacturing mill in Italy or France will sell at maybe $10, $12. So is it the product? Is it the communication? So when you talk about differentiation, is it the only product differentiation, or there are differentiation which needs to be created at all levels to be, to be present and earn money?
Thank you. Firstly, when you compare this two aspects, that how we sell the same product that they sell at $9 or $10 FOB, we sell it at $3. Of course, there is the need for branding. The perception has to be very clear. Like I said before, that we can no longer be a manufacturer. We have to brand ourselves as a brand, that we don't only produce denim as specification wise. We are also here to use our own technology, our own research, our own developments, and you need to present these to the outside world, and you need to convince them that these technologies require investments, they are proven, and you need to show them and you need to engage them, which is why you have different programs. You have Partnership for Cleaner Textile programs, which is run by IFCs. You need to combine with them, you need to relay these messages to the world. Also, technology plays a vital role. The process mapping is very important. New technologies like, for example, the European industry, the European manufacturers, they use, for example, a company like Royo. They use a technology called foam dyeing, where they don't use any water at all. So the yarn is dyed through the foam. So these technologies has to be incorporated. And once you incorporate a technology, dope dyed method or ozone finish or aero finish, which they were talking about, that finishing plays a very big role. These needs to be related, and the story has to be made up, the branding has to be done, and the buyers needs to be convinced that this is a product, regardless of the consumption is that if it's produced in Bangladesh, it has to be cheap. No, it doesn't have to be, because we lack in the branding. All the good things that we have done, all the good things that we own, that we possess, that we have built over the 40 years, has to be presented to the world. The world does not know about the good aspects. The world does not know about the fact that Bangladesh has 150 LEED certified companies. The world needs to know that Bangladesh has 40 of the top platinum certified factories in the world, and out of that, the top 7 factories in the world, out of the top 10, is in Bangladesh. We need to go out and engage ourselves with the world, the buyers, that no, we are here, we have the processes, we need to know, we have the know-how, and we need to inform them what we are doing, the savings that have been done through these investments. Like a LEED certified company, these investments are very intensive, but going forward, the energy that is saved, the water consumption that is saved, these are all done through investments. These are, of course, these paybacks are long term, but these needs to be communicated to the world. For example, my factory is the first LEED certified platinum factory denim in the world. Now, if I don't engage that, if I don't convey that message to my buyers, then my buyers will treat me the same as it does to any other denim mill. So it is how I portray myself and my brand. So this is very important.
Thank you, and thank you, Tanveer. And I think Farooq Hassanji, I think there is a message which is coming from here. And I tell you, when we say messaging and communication, for example, Sri Lanka at certain point of time branded their country as ethical manufacturing. So this time they went for organic. It was not successful at all, and it really affected the whole country. But when they went as ethical manufacturing, the whole world knew that anything you buy from Sri Lanka is ethical. I think next step, what Tanveer is talking about, I think as Bangladesh, we have created kind of a lot of good manufacturing capacities. I think a branding at a different level, branding and communication at a country level needs to be done. Whether it's Bangladesh or whether it's India, I think more than we have invested a lot in manufacturing, there is continuous investment which needs to happen. But branding and communication at a country level, not at a company level, and actually one has to work also, showcase. So it's a big effort. A lot of, definitely other than showcasing, a lot of money needs to be spent. But I think that's, again, if next 25-30 billion has to be built, branding will play an important role, because bottom line is as important as, and for all manufacturers, bottom line is, that's why I'm just sticking through this question, because whether we talk about sustainability, whether we talk about margins or differentiation, everything needs a lot of money. Take drug companies, why drug cost is so high. The basic cost of a crocin is, it's sold at 1 rupee, right? So because it is patent has been removed and we are buying generic drug. Otherwise, the cost of research and development is 80% or 85-90% of the cost of a drug. So same way, I think when we make business plan for denim companies or any of the factory, I think what we need to do is innovation needs to take care of, or product differentiation needs to allocate maybe 10-15% of the project cost into that, where banks will also accept it, how you present it. Otherwise, how do you, I'm just thinking aloud, because if this is, as I am seeing through the panel, this is one of the most important factor, and any factor which is most important, if you don't allocate money and funds, it will never happen in life. I have interacted with companies like DuPont and all, where their product development, research and product development is 14% of their sales. 14% of their sales is this, while nobody will spend or allocate. For us, anything to develop in this is all out of pocket. Raymond and Arvind can talk about it. They might not have started with this kind of spending in product development. Now they are doing it, right? And maybe that's still not sufficient to the extent which are they're supposed to do. So I think those allocation, what do you think, Manish? As a brand, would you like the factories to do something like this?
100%. As in, if I look at it from a brand's perspective, as in, as Chandrakant mentioned, as in we need to sell a story to the consumer. And that story has to be relatable. So either we innovate and we, as in, generate that story, or it comes from our partners. And from a brand's perspective, if I speak, we'll be ready to pay a premium if we get something which is innovative, which is different, which has a point of differentiation. So, see, end of the day, as in you have to put in that money, whether I put it or the manufacturer puts it. And if they are able to do it as in, and that's where as in I feel that value addition through the value chain as in it would play a huge role in terms of actually increasing the margins and the prices for the respective partners. So I think that has to happen through the value chain. Brands would be more than happy if there is innovation coming in from the manufacturer side, and that's where I think, as in whether we talk of Bangladesh or we talk of India, the biggest difference is as in whether you look at technology or any other aspects, whether it is fabrics or other things, as in if you are able to invest in R&D, as in we can't be seen if we are just replicating things and the technology is coming from outside, we'll never be able to charge a premium. If we are able to own that technology, if we are able to as in innovate something on our own, then the story is going to be very, very different. You can charge a premium for what you are doing, or you can even charge royalty and let somebody else replicate that. So I think that's where that investment is something which is very, very important for us to move forward.
No, I agree, and I would say I have one question to ask from both of you as a company, when just to carry on with what we just talked about in terms of investments in innovation. So as Arvind or Raymond, do you have a specific budget in terms of how much to be spent on product development and R&D, or it comes just because there is a department? It is a continuous process. So no budget, it's a continuous process. Means there is no budget.
No, I mean budget is there, then only you'll be able to team.
So when I am saying, why I just pointed out, I am not like, when you say it's a process means it will happen. When you say, and that's what it happens in the companies which I am talking about, they have an allocation like India's GDP 3% on education. So this is something like this, that whether it's going from 3% to 3% or it's going on. I'm just, yeah.
A full-fledged, design and development and innovation team. Which is continuously working on product developments. How to build in entry barriers in the product and how to make product commercially viable. So we have a full-fledged department. So it is a continuous process and funds are allocated for it.
I agree. No, I definitely Raymond and Arvind will have funds. I am just saying, if you put a budget, I can tell you it will change the things. Suddenly you will find that at the end of a year, you have few crores lying which are unused because budget is not used. I believe it will happen if it works like that. So from that, I think one more important point from denim industry, and all of you have raised this, and I would like one by one to think of answer for this. You said entry barriers for competition, right? We talked about collaborations, right? So we are talking at one point of time collaborations between fabric player and a garment player. Then we are saying creating products where we have entry barriers. Then we are saying manufacturer and brand needs to work together to create what consumer needs. So what's the answer? Is the answer that the supply chain needs to collaborate? Is the answer? No, I'm just listen to it carefully, and then because you said differently and others said differently, so I'm just asking a question, and because yes is an obvious answer, but it's not happening, right, on the ground in terms of if you created a finished product, you would like to earn, and it's obvious, Arvind would like to encash what you have created by creating certain entry barriers into it. So I'll just come because, and then second, so one is this question, so that because all four of you have to answer. And second is like, Tanveer, if do you think even at a country level, collaboration is possible between India and Bangladesh, between fabrics and garments, depending on who has the strength? And as a brand, would you like a collaboration across the value chain? Would you like to support also the brand to support manufacturers to develop a concept? So I think let me just come to you first.
See, this we are doing long time with Bangladesh. I mean, last few years only Bangladesh many mills have come. Maybe last 7, 8 years, 10 years. Otherwise, there was no denim mill. We were only working through all the vendors in Bangladesh factories very closely, just regularly going them, showing them developments. Then they, based on that, they used to develop a garment and show it to a customer. So it was a kind of whatever we are doing, showing them. From that selection, they used to make a selection and show it to brands. The selection used to happen through a vendor, not directly. There is one channel directly going, approaching a brand and getting selected there, nominating, and the other channel is through collaboration. It is both the side. It is long term we are doing that. That is how we are very closely working with Bangladesh. Many of the garment manufacturer very closely.
I'll just give you one example of collaboration, which I meant by collaboration. We have worked. So I'm saying, for example, Sri Lanka, MAS Holding. Their buyers sit in their board meetings, right? And the first question they ask that, last year we gave you so much of orders. Did you make money? So that's the level of collaboration, and I am saying exactly what happens in the board meeting. That did you make 15% margin on what I gave you? And that's the level of collaboration, and that's why the companies have evolved to that extent. So do you think as a brand that kind of collaboration can happen with manufacturers?
100%. I feel, and if I look at it, I think we've already made certain progress, or we've already taken certain steps wherein, if I look at it, if you look at as in terms of costings and the whole input cost, I think they've become very, very transparent today. So, and the reality is, if you look at the value chain, the reality is that if we think that there is only one player through the chain that's going to make money, that's not going to work. As in that, those are all short-term tactics. So, very clearly, when I look at suppliers that we engage with, we are talking of a spirit of partnership. We are saying that you also need to make money, we also need to make money. There is a huge opportunity that is there in the market. We need to look at in terms of how do we harness that well. And that's where, as in, there are developments that happen wherein we collaborate with garment manufacturers, we collaborate with mills, and things like, as in, Minesh spoke and Chandrakant spoke of things like PCW and those sort of things. Those are the concepts that come in wherein we say that, is this possible? Is there a market for it? And there are times wherein we realize that we do it together. The market might be very small from the India perspective, but then there are concepts that come up wherein you might have a bigger market outside India. So I think those collaborations are happening. The reality is that, as in, we need to go further. We need to behave like true partners. And that is where the growth would come in for all stakeholders.
Good, thank you. Tanveer, do you think cross-border collaborations is, and when I'm saying collaboration, it can still go to the extent of joint ventures. Do you think it can happen?
Well, firstly, it's already happening.
Okay.
There are renowned factories and mills from India collaborating with mills in Bangladesh. So definitely this should be the way forward in terms of strategic alliance, joint ventures, because it is only through best practices that you can minimize your cost, make your processes more efficient, and then make a very sustainable approach. So you can think of it in two ways. If you're here for the short term, then it's different. But if you want a long term, these mills are 80, 100-year-old generation mills. So if you have to think of it as a long term, steady development growth. So there is no shortcut to it, and this is a very technologically driven industry, where the fashion is always fast moving, it's fast changing. So you have to be very up to date with whatever is going on, and you have to understand the taste and the thought process of the consumers working with the buyers. So collaboration in all stages, not only with the mills, with your back-end supply, to to make sure that everybody gets a piece of the pie. That should be the way forward. And of course, cross-border integration is definitely a must. Using strength of the Indian mills, manufacturers, with combining with the resources that we have in Bangladesh, we can definitely work together and achieve bigger growths for sure.
Thank you. And I think already the time is over. I can have long discussions because the point is denim is, it touches everything and it has so many possibilities. I think this topic chosen is really, really apt because you can create not only in product differentiators, but a lot of other differentiations in denim, a lot of options being created. What emerged out of the discussions, I'm just to sum up briefly, is that market is big, both internationally and in India. Consumer is ready to accept new trials, new options, and it's for the manufacturers and the brands, whether in India, Bangladesh, anywhere, they have to collaborate and give to consumer what it needs. I think when we talk about product development, product creation, it comes with really anything in the world comes with allocation, real allocation of fund. And once funds are allocated, then you create team, you train team, you develop team, you send people outside for training and product development. So there are a lot of options which are possible when you have pressure to really use up the funds or the budgets which are created. With this, let me thank all my panelists for contributing completely through your experience and you shared. I think we will write some of the notes of the sessions that we did and some learnings, and maybe we'll take, because this process of what Rahul Bhai and CMAI has created as part of Fab show as well as conference, we'll take it to the next level in times to come. With this, thanks to audience, thanks to panelists, and thanks to Rahul Bhai.
I was about to say, like you hear in the flights, please remain seated till further instructions. Thank you very much. I think it was a fascinating panel discussion. And I have to say that Chandrakant really took me back to nostalgic times. I still remember one season he would come and sell me his denim at, I don't even now remember, but 55 rupees a meter or something like that. And then the next season he would come and say 60 rupees. So I would say, why, Chandrakant, why 5 rupees more? I said, no, now we have changed from right-hand twill to left-hand twill. And after a lot of objection and protest, he would still bully me into paying that extra 5 rupees. And then I sat down and wondered that if he can bully me or fool me into paying 5 rupees more, why can't I fool my customers into paying 10 rupees more? So one topic, I think one aspect which was not touched by the esteemed panel was that product differentiation also helps you make a lot of money. Because your cost increases by about 1 or 2 rupees, but you can actually gather at least 10 rupees more by using that same logic which your supplier has fooled you into. And all these terms like ring denim, I remember I used to sell my jeans 14.5 RHT and LHT, so right hand twill and left hand twill. Ring denim was, and I'll give you one example how the product differentiation can help you make money. When I don't know, Prem probably will remember, sandblasting had come for the first time into the country. Now that was some kind of a washing technique through some shotgun, and it used to use some very fine particles, and the washers used to ensure that nothing remained in that pair of jeans. All whatever leftover particles were there were completely cleaned out. And one time it did happen that in one lot of mine, we had forgotten to clean those particles away. And I still remember Chairmaz of Hyderabad, one of the biggest retailer at that time. He called me up and in his typical Bawa language, he said, "Arey, I Rahul, te શું કર્યું? You know, I to badi reth che, reth is sand." So I don't know what came over me. I said, "Yes, Pestanji, it is sand. Because it is sand blasting, so I have left sand to prove that it has actually been blasted by sand." And from that lot onwards, I increased my prices by about 10 rupees. And we actually, and I'm not exaggerating, I sent my team to Chowpatty beach, picked up sands, and then kept some of these sand particles inside my pockets of the jeans. So that's how product differentiation can help you make money. But thank you very much. And Tanveer Saab, really grateful to you for all the insights that you gave me, gave us rather, and possible collaboration. If any person here wants to become a big denim manufacturer, you have a collaborative partner sitting right here. And thank you, Chandrakant, for bringing back those memories. Minesh, Arvind was my favorite company because my father's first job was with Arvind Mills, and Sanjay Lalbhai was my student. So Arvind is always a very popular company for me. And Prashant, as usual, was brilliant. And Manish, well, what can you say? He is the role model. A role model, not necessarily in terms of behavior, but at least in terms of appearance. He can start.
I don't know how to take this.
I am old enough to crack such jokes at him. No, but thanks, Manish. You gave some excellent insights into the branding of denim. And thank you very much, Prashant. As usual, you were brilliant. And may I ask Ankur Gadia, Honorary Treasurer of CMI, to hand over a plaque of our appreciation to Tanveer Saab. And Ankur, can I request you to hand over to Manish Kapoor? Can I request Santosh Kataria, our Honorary Secretary, to hand over a plaque to Chandrakant? I've had so many fights with Chandrakant. I can't call him Mr. Hooder or anything like that. So I'll just call you Chandrakant. Great meeting you. And can I, Santosh, can I ask you to hand over to Minish Juneja? And if we give any more silver plaques to Prashant, he might get an income tax raid, so we will not. Thank you very much. Thank you, audience.